93 Roadmaster. Morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good.
Listen, I gotta tell you right off, I don't like bringing a car into a dealer. I've brought a car in again and again and again, and they never get it right. I haven't got time for that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, I've got other things to do. But this time, I'm in a jam. I could have fixed this car.
I see. What seems to be the trouble?
Well, every time I start the engine, it makes some weird sounds, there's rattles, and it vibrates a lot. Man, I should have fixed this car. I could do it myself.
This happens every time?
Yep. Well, now that I think of it, I'd say most of the time. I think I could have fixed this car.
Most of the time. Is the air conditioner on when you start the engine?
Are you kidding? In this heat? Who'd shut it off? What's he getting at?
Okay. Well, I think I know what the problem is. Let's just let the car sit for about 10 minutes while we take care of some paperwork, okay?
10 minutes? Anything you say.
Turn the ignition on. Holy cow. Listen to that racket.
What racket? This guy must be hearing things.
That whining sound.
What whining sound? It's always sounded like that.
That's a first-class blower motor whine. Your motor's vibrating your HVAC case. This is a Roadmaster. I can't have you driving around like this. You just need a new gasket installed. Consider it done.
Well, okay. And thanks. Maybe this won't be so bad.
Now, what about this engine? Fire it up. Okay. That sound is the AC compressor clearing oil from its cylinders. I know it sounds irritating, but it's not hurting anything, okay?
That's a relief. I thought my engine was going out on me. Whew. I feel better already.
Did you see the way that service advisor started changing the customer's negative attitude about dealer service? We'll check in on them from time to time to see how they're completing that RO. But in the meantime, watch this know-how on Buick Roadmasters. I'm covering different repairs from stem to stern for 91 to 93 Roadmasters. Take a look. Let's begin by taking a look at a no air conditioning concern covered by Buick Service Bulletin number 9314. Now this occurs on 92 and 93 Roadmasters with the C68 automatic air conditioning system. If the compressor clutch engages 10 times for only about 1 second each time, the C68 microprocessor may set a code 9 for low or no refrigerant. The system is inhibited, and the AC display on the instrument panel flashes. However, if there's an intermittent electrical problem anywhere in the circuit, for example the AC control relay, the high pressure cutout switch, or the pressure cycling switch that causes 10 quick clutch engagements, the C68 microprocessor thinks that refrigerant pressure is too low, so the microprocessor sets a code 9 even though the system is fully charged. Follow the bulletin. Verify the system and check for intermittence. When all possibilities are exhausted, cut the light blue wire in connector C205 to disable code 9. Be very careful because the blower relay connector has a blue wire too. This is C205. Owners of 1992 Roadmasters may have had a new keyless entry module installed at some point to fix an intermittent deck lid or tailgate operation, according to Bulletin 92-915. Now, those customers may return, saying their automatic door locks don't relock at a stop like they used to after opening, then closing a door with the brake pedal applied. In this situation, service advisors should tell customers the automatic locks are still okay, but the new module no longer contains the relock feature. Now let's check up on our service advisor and his wary customer.
Hey, Bob, did you know your carpet's all wet over here?
What?
That's true. Take a look.
That wasn't wet last week, except for that coffee I spilled.
You know, it's been pretty hot and real humid lately. Listen, I've got a hunch. Pop the hood. I need to look at something. I read a service bulletin on this not too long ago. Yep, there it is. Plain as day. Second one this month. You see that rubber seal?
Yeah?
When it's hot and extremely humid like it's been lately, and you're running the AC all the time, water starts condensing around here because of the cold AC evaporator and all. Follow?
Gotcha. I'm lost.
Well, water starts leaking into the car, and bango, you've got wet carpets. Fortunately, sealing this with a small rubber elbow is a quick job.
Might as well do that, too.
Like he said, seal the grommet, then install a 90-degree rubber elbow to the drain tube. This leak can also cause AM radio static, covered in Preliminary Information Report K000393. Water that collects here can penetrate and corrode the antenna connection. For now, you'll need to contact your DSM for any PI information. Steering wheel vibration can affect 92 Roadmasters with variable effort steering. Variable effort steering is designed to reduce assist to provide a better road feel at highway speeds. However, drivers of VES cars may feel more steering wheel vibrations than drivers of non-VES cars. To understand what causes these vibrations, you need to understand scrub radius. Scrub radius is the relationship between 2 points. The first is the pivot point. That's where the steering axis meets the road. The second is the centerline point. That's where the vehicle's weight is most concentrated. Steering effort is least when vehicle weight is nearest the pivot point. When scrub radius is equal, road shock input is minimized. However, normal ball joint and control arm bushing wear may alter scrub radius. If scrub radius differs side to side and the vehicle goes over, say, railroad tracks, one spindle jolts the steering system harder than the other, sending vibrations up the column to the driver. Reduce vibrations with a steering damper kit. The kit includes a bracket, bolt, nut, steering damper, and steering relay rod. You'll need to weld the bracket in place, so don't forget to disconnect the battery. Remove the relay rod, then clean the weld site. MIG weld the bracket to the frame. Install the new steering relay rod and damper. Reconnect the battery. Occasionally, poor crosswind handling becomes a concern affecting 1992 Roadmasters with variable effort steering. This condition can be caused by a misadjusted steering gear, incorrect wheel alignment, or non-uniform tires. Start with a road test. Steer slightly to one side, then release the wheel. If the steering wheel returns to the straight-ahead position, the gear is not causing the complaint. Wheel alignment is, which we'll get to in a minute. If the steering wheel didn't return, perform a worm bearing preload and then pitman shaft over center adjustments. The worm bearing preload adjustment loads the shaft bearings. After removing the lock nut, use tool J7624 to bottom the plug. Mark the housing. Then mark 1/2 inch counterclockwise from the first mark. Turn the plug back to that second mark. Install and tighten the adjuster lock nut to spec. The Pitman shaft over center adjustment sets the gear lash by adjusting the depth of mesh. Start by turning the adjuster screw out completely, then back in one turn. Note the turning torque as the gear is passed over center. This initial torque should be 6 to 15 inch-pounds. Higher torque indicates bearing or seal damage. Move the teeth into closer mesh by turning the adjuster screw until turning torque at center is 6 to 10 inch-pounds higher than the initial torque. Torque the adjuster lock nut to spec. Reinstall the gear and drive the vehicle. If the steering wheel is straight after a proper gear adjustment, the sector gear is exactly centered. This provides the driver an on-center feel. However, if the steering wheel is not straight, driving with the steering wheel straight causes the gear to be off-center. Correct this by resetting toe with the steering wheel set in the straight-ahead position. If the gear is not the cause, check the alignment, specifically caster. Now, 3.5 degrees of positive caster is the spec. As many of you know, increasing positive caster improves returnability, while decreasing positive caster improves directional stability. In our case, that means crosswind handling. So for better crosswind handling, we're recommending 2.8 degrees of positive caster. Then drive the vehicle again to determine if the wind handling condition is repaired. Service advisors must make sure their customers are well aware of this trade-off in handling before authorizing the work. After checking and adjusting the steering gear and wheel alignment, the last option to consider is that non-uniform tires may also contribute to poor crosswind handling. The only way to be sure is to install new tires and drive the vehicle. I know what you're thinking. Step 1, new tires. Well, you may get lucky, but what if that doesn't fix it? Well, you'll be adjusting the gear and setting the alignment, that's what. It's a lot of work, but think about it. Your satisfied customer will think you're a genius. Owners of some 1992 to 1993 Roadmasters may comment on slow steering wheel returnability after performing low-speed turns. This condition is covered by Service Bulletin 9339. This condition can be verified by driving the vehicle slowly. Turn the steering wheel slightly, then release it. The wheel should return quickly to center. If it doesn't, install a new power steering gear valve assembly and a new power steering pump actuator. If the vehicle still won't return, make sure caster is adjusted to 3.5 degrees. It's been a while since we checked in with our intrepid service advisor. So,
Aha! It did it. Did you hear that? I got him this time.
That's definitely a steering pop if I ever heard it.
And that means? Okay. What's that mean?
It's pretty simple, Bob. A bolt hole in the frame is running across a bolt thread, giving you that nice popping sound. We just take the steering gear off the car, find the bad hole, and grind it out a bit so that the threads don't touch.
Really? Anyone can do that.
That's it. Of course, we'll reassemble it for a nominal fee. Just kidding, Bob. Just kidding. Your warranty's got it covered.
You're a real comedian. All right, add it to the list.
Well, this is going to take a while. Do you need a ride to the golf course?
Excuse me?
You know, car, ride, golfing.
Well, I just, I didn't expect to hear that from a car dealer. Thank goodness.
Get your golf clubs.
Courtesy transportation is offered by any Buick dealer. Since this car won't be kept overnight, he's going to offer the driver a one-way ride to home, work, even the golf course. Customers may mention that their vehicle shakes under light throttle between 45 to 53 miles per hour. This occurs because the torque converter clutch is locking up before engine speed is high enough to handle the extra load. A new PROM eliminates this by raising the torque converter clutch engagement speed. This is covered in Bulletin 93 6E17. 92 and 93 Roadmasters with the 5.7-liter V8 may exhibit a shudder effect whenever the torque converter clutch applies or releases. Now, this is covered in PI number D004231. Customers may comment on a hum or boom noise just as the vehicle is accelerating from a stop when engine speed is between 500 to 800 RPM. The noise may also occur as the vehicle is just about to come to a complete stop. The repair is to install a newly designed exhaust hanger. A slight moan or vibration condition occurs in some 1992 Roadmasters built prior to VIN 464-131 with the 2.56 rear axle. Now, the moan occurs while lightly accelerating from 45 to 55 miles per hour on a slight grade in fourth gear with the TCC applied. Now, this is covered in Bulletin 92-1046. The moan or vibration is caused by an incorrectly match-mounted rear universal joint, a misaligned exhaust system, or rear frame rail that transmits vibrations to the underside of the vehicle. As the bulletin states, perform all three repairs. Start by checking for incorrectly match-mounted U-joints. The prop shaft and pinion are factory balanced, marked by orange paint. If the paint marks don't line up, the shaft has been misinstalled, so reposition the prop shaft. If the paint marks are gone, reposition the shaft and check for fewer vibrations. If that doesn't help, use hose clamps to balance the prop shaft. Next, align the exhaust system hanger blade inside the mounting block. A twisted blade can pass exhaust pulses to the underbody. Adjust the system parallel to the vehicle. The last step is to install a frame rail brace to reduce frame vibrations. Another type of boom can be heard during light acceleration from 45 to 55 miles per hour. The problem only occurs in fourth gear with the TCC applied. This is covered in Bulletin 93-611. Exhaust system pulses between 45 and 55 miles per hour set up a vibration that is transmitted by the exhaust system hanger to the body. An easy way to reproduce the condition is to brake torque the vehicle at 1200 RPM in drive. To correct this condition, install a new exhaust system hanger. Torque the hanger to frame bolts and hanger clamp bolt to the specs in the bulletin. Yet another boom condition may surface between 65 to 70 miles per hour only on cars with a 3.08 axle. A ring gear imbalance may be the cause of this boom. At highway speeds, the ring gear rotates fast enough to vibrate the vehicle body. Since you can't balance the ring gear, unbalance the prop shaft instead. An unbalanced prop shaft becomes a counterweight to offset ring gear imbalance. It's important to remember that installing a new prop shaft does not repair the boom. Some owners of 1991 to 1993 Roadmasters may complain of wind noise, covered in Bulletin 93-1014. Complaints fall into two categories: wind noise and wind rush. I can't cover them all here, but let's talk about some of the more frequent complaints. A wind noise complaint in this area may require door realignment. The frame must touch the weather strip. Small leaks require a slight bend in the retaining flange to move the weather strip to the door frame. Make these adjustments small. A source of wind rush is misaligned sheet metal. A door edge protruding into the passing airstream creates wind rush within the body structure. Move the door either flush with the fender or 1.5 millimeters inboard. In some cases, the fender may require repositioning. A belt molding gap may also cause wind rush. Adjust the molding to eliminate the gap. A run channel to door frame gap causes wind noise. With the run channel removed, apply a 5 mm bead of bedding and glazing compound around the inner edge of the retainer. Then fill the two cavities in the door frame. Seat the run channel in the compound. If the noise is heard at the upper left corner of the rear door, perform the same technique in that area. If the wind noise is found here, remove the rear stationary glass. Apply bedding and glazing compound to the inner edge of the retainer. Fill both cavities with strip caulk and reinstall the glass.
Alrighty, bye-bye now. Hey, Bob, just in time, we're about to close.
Yeah, the game was a little slow. I kept hitting the ball in the rough a lot, but how's the car?
It's ready. Smooth as silk and quiet as a church, Bob. Quiet as a church. I'll have it brought around for you right away.
I never thought I'd admit it in a million years, but you've made me one happy guy.
I didn't expect that from a car dealer.
Bob, it's my job to make you a happy guy.